You have found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. The Chicago Bulls lose in their home finale, at least in the regular season. Andre Drummond also goes down with a pretty nasty-looking ankle injury, and Billy Donovan said he didn't come here to be in the play-in. Sure surprised us. We're going to talk about all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat, the designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze, and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Pat, regular season finale for the Chicago Bulls. You expect the Bulls to go out there, show some heart for their home crowd. And, we showed a little bit. I don't want to act like they didn't show a little bit of heart. They did. But we got spanked. Outside of that, more than the heart, the blunders today. Today was a funny day, bro. It was just a funny day.
Listen, 9 turnovers on the day. I don't know where DeMar was going half the time. Like, I don't know what's happening with DeMar over these last couple of games, but like he just like not even that he played poorly in this game. He played pretty well, but like he'd be driving to the bucket and like the basketball would just leave his hand. I'd be like, what just happened to you right there, dog? Or like today he was just driving into like quadruple coverage multiple times. It was a weird game. It was almost like the Bulls knew this is probably not going to go in our favor. And yet they were in the game the entire time. Like, this was a competitive basketball game that felt very not competitive for most of the game, I would almost say. Like, it felt like the Bulls were out of it, but they were always in it.
Yeah, I
don't know.
Despite Jalen Brunson's 45 points, we had 34 from DeMar, 26 from Nikola Vucevic, 24 from Kobe White. It's good to see those three players all score over 20 in a game, but like, it was one of those games where, like you said, we never really felt like we were all the way out of it, but we never really felt like we got all the way back in either. It was just like one of those, I picked my words very, very, very.
Sometimes you can't get all the way back in.
Traumatic stress. I don't know what that's like. Like, wait.
Yeah, hey, listen, sometimes you can't get all the way back in, I'm saying.
Yeah. Listen, that's on them if they can't fit it all in. That's not on us. But when it goes down.
Look what you've done to us, Bulls.
Look what you done to my boy.
Look what you've done to my boy. Gee, it was a weird game, bro. I think the Bulls, like, there were so many things that you looked at today. And again, right, we're sitting here talking about math on the three-point concept. I'm not even going to bring that up, though. Like, when you watch the game versus what actually happened, it felt completely different. It felt like the Bulls were continuously getting dominated on the boards. They won that battle. It felt like the Bulls were struggling in the foul game. It felt like they just could not figure out how to keep the fouls down. They only fouled 3 more times than the New York Knicks. But I think the biggest takeaway from this game was, and what we got to talk about this team moving forward with, is every time it felt like the Bulls kind of got some semblance of common sense back into their game, they would shoot themselves in the foot with multiple silly plays. And that's why the game felt so lopsided at times. It wasn't that the Bulls were actually playing bad, but it was just like every time you do something on the positive side, you shoot yourself in the foot negatively twice.
Yeah, like the New York Knicks technically had more turnovers than the Bulls in this game, but it was the type of turnovers and then the timeliness of the turnovers. This was one of those games where, like you said, it was just like it was almost like watching when my son played basketball for the Y and he was 6 years old. That's what type of mistakes. It's like people who just, like, you don't know where they're just out there moving. It's like, what? Well, you don't move without the ball. Now you want to move? Yeah. Now you want to move?
And I think that's the part that makes it tough, right? Because you all right there? You froze.
I didn't know who was frozen. You look frozen on my side. I probably look frozen on your side. I have no idea what happened.
Which one of us froze?
Yeah, chat.
Let us know in the chat
froze.
which one of us froze.
I mean, listen, it was probably me. I don't care. I was going off anyway.
I think that it's tough, right? Because I think you'll agree with this as well. The Chicago Bulls just looked like a team tonight that was unwilling to make winning plays, right? You start to climb your way back into it. It's a 5-point game, and you refuse to box out Josh Hart and allow him to get a double-double and a putback bucket.
Almost a triple-double. He had 7 assists too, I think, in this game.
Well, just on that bucket, you let him get the double-double, and that goes to a putback bucket. Like, it's like every time that you would claw your way back in, you would do something that, I mean, listen, these are things that we shouldn't be talking about with 3 games left in the season. These are things that we shouldn't be talking about as we're heading into a playoff environment, the play-in tournament here. Like, I don't know how you, at this point, see anything different coming from this Bulls team, because we're 3 games left in the season, and we're having the same conversation that we were having in the 4-15 drought in the month of freaking November and December.
Bro, we got 3 games left. Well, 4 technically, because you are guaranteed a playing game. But listen, it's time, bro. Like, this season has been one of the more frustrating seasons by the Sky. Keep in mind, we're technically above 500 since the end of December. But it's such a, I don't know, man. This is again, this is our 42nd loss on the season, so we now know we're going to finish below 500. For anybody who's still holding out hope that the Bulls are going to win out and finish at 500, like, it's just.
I'll never doubt Vegas when it comes to the Bulls again. They have been on the money.
What would they pick us to win? 39 games this season?
I think 30, 37. 37 or 38.
You know.
Something like that. I mean, listen, heck of a prediction. They called something. You know what I mean? They saw,
like I said before, I think I said this on yesterday's episode. I would not be surprised at all if the Bulls lose every single one of these last games. I wouldn't be surprised either if they won all 3 of the last games. That's just what this team is, bro.
Yeah, and I think that's the part that sucks at this point. And when you look at games like this, right, it brings you back to earth. Every time you see the Bulls have some semblance of success, some semblance of, okay, maybe they've kind of figured some things out, they never do it 2 games in a row. And if at this point you're sitting here talking about being in year 4 and you can't do things 2 games in a row, what are we talking about? Right? There are people still out there talking about you got to bring DeMar DeRozan back. Kids are big. Billy Donovan's the issue, and that's why the dynamic is falling apart between DeMar and Zach, and all of the things that go into that. And I'm just like, guys, how many more years of this do we need to see? There's not a knight in shining armor riding in here that's going to fix this all. Even if you go out and you find your next superstar, you got to clear some pieces out of here.
No, because AK just thinks that you can hold on to it all. And then if you just stare at it long enough, something's going to change.
AK definitely goes to the refrigerator, opens it, sees there's nothing in there he wants, goes and sit back on the couch, lets himself get a little bit hungrier to see if it looks better. Yeah. He goes back and opens the fridge up. He's like, I'm still not there yet.
About 3-4 times, bro. And then DeMar DeRozan just pump fakes opening the door as well. So, like, they're just in the same boat.
I mean, listen, Javon Carter pump fakes getting up. So, I mean, I guess DeMar made it to the door. Javon is, I almost got up there. I almost got,
No, we're going to sit back.
I think Javon Carter pump fakes with his girl when never mind, don't worry about that. Don't you got to ad read or something?
That's crazy. That's the transition we're making to the ad read. The Bulls do lose Andre Drummond in what looks like could be a nasty injury. We're going to talk about that next up, and who could step into that. Or are we just going to see even more small ball than what we've seen at points of the season already? Before we get into that, though, I got to talk to you guys about one of our sponsors, and that is Game Time. Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Y'all go support the White Sox. I almost laughed on that one.
I mean, listen, on Game Time, you got to be getting the tickets at this point at like 75 cents.
They may pay you to get the tickets.
If you
Priority
get
last minute deals
on top of it, I mean, you get like $1.10 back.
Priority last minute deals. Save up to 60% off buying the last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Flash deals. Save even more with the exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game and or concert. The lowest price guarantee or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, Pat. What is going on, bro? Why is it feet, ankles, all this stuff has just all been bad for the Chicago Bulls this year? So there was a play in this game that we kind of alluded to in the first segment where Torrey Craig on a fast break apparently was trying to alley-oop it to himself. Andre Drummond rightfully thought that Torrey Craig was trying to get him the alley. They both, how do two people go up for a dunk and both miss it? Then on the subsequent play after that, Andre Drummond goes down on the defensive side with an ankle injury. Did look nasty. He could not get off the court in his own power. He actually had to be carried. It took 5 people to carry him off the court. He was then carted off the court. No updates other than he wasn't going to finish this game, which was obvious. But this does look like a bad injury, and I would not be surprised if Andre Drummond missed some extended time. We did get to see 4 minutes of Adama Sanogo out there.
Finally. But, I mean, they didn't feel confident in those minutes. You can kind of tell that, right? But I don't know, man. Like, that one sucked. Losing Drum sucked. The play itself sucked. The last thing that we saw from Andre Drummond basically was just like, I guess I get like I said before we got on here, you usually reward your big man in that situation. And so I can see why Drum thought he was getting the alley-oop, but it's just, listen, welcome to the Reinsdorf teams, bro. Like, it's just welcome to embarrassment. It's embarrassing. You're a professional NBA team, and you're embarrassing yourselves on a nightly basis, doing something every single night. Look at this, bro. Tell me this isn't I bet you're wondering how we got here.
I wish we could
for me to
zoom in on Kobe over there towards the left. Just look at Kobe over there. He's bewildered right there. He has no idea why that is happening.
Bro, can you zoom in on the overlays? And I don't think you can, bro. I would love to be able to figure
this. You know me. I'll do my little magic. We'll have a zoomed up picture sooner rather than later.
It's just one of those situations where, like, Kobe White said it best post game, bro. When he was talking with Joe Cowley and them in the locker room, he said we did some really dumb stuff tonight. Like, that's really what it was. It's like, I love that Billy. He said he called a timeout specifically.
In that face, voice perfectly. They did some dumb stuff tonight. Look at Kobe's face, bro.
Billy Donovan said he called a timeout to specifically voice his displeasure to the team on the Torrey Craig alley-oop. Also, Drummond had swelling on his ankle. Like, bro, it's to a point where the team is just laughable. Everything about them is just laughable. I guess, you know, if you're looking for a bright spot to head out of this game, DeMar DeRozan still looks like he can score the basketball at will, but you lose Drummond in this scenario and you're asking yourself who you're turning to. Like, it really is. I would have loved to see, and I think maybe they hold Sanogo out because that's a awkward moment to throw him into, but listen, you got to go trial by fire here. I mean, like, now you have
DeMar DeRozan got a wide open lane, and he looked like, hey, what do I do with this thing?
Hey, got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. The other option is I put in the 6'5" guys. And we know that that's Billy's idea of putting guys out there that are going to be competent and they're going to know where to be on the court and stuff like that. But sometimes you got to let these guys figure it out. Listen, you're at a point right now where you're falling into play-in anyway. Now the Hawks end up losing tonight, so that's fine. Billy Donovan needs to be getting literally hourly updates on everything the Atlanta Hawks are doing, even while he sleeps. But it's just like, how are you going to let these guys figure out the game if you keep just not allowing them to be a part of the game? The only reason Dalen Terry is getting minutes tonight is because Ayo Dosunmu's not out there. And Julian Phillips isn't there anymore. And like
I was about to say Dalen was getting minutes before then, but it's Billy Donovan's, and I don't know if it's a mandate by the front office or whatever, but for what we know, and I'm going to go to the coach on this one because he's coaching, he's managing the rotations. But the fact that at no point does it seem like he's thought about, hey, you know what? It's the start of the season. If this team keeps having injuries, maybe I should look to get 5 to 6 minutes, 5 to 8 minutes out there for a couple of these rookies, because chances are at some point this season we may have to rely on them. Same thing every time, bro. Every single time.
No, you're now to the end of the season, like I said, and I think this makes it tough because of the play-in matchup that you have, especially with Drummond going down, right? Like, you're probably going up against a couple of big guys with Okongwu and Capella.
Mm-hmm.
How you gonna combat their two big lineup without being able to utilize your two big lineup? Are you going to be able to get Adama Sanago ready in 3 days? Because I'll tell you what, you can't throw Javante Carter out there against Onyeka Okongwu.
Javante Carter?
Do
they do the fusion?
Hey,
it's crazy.
Javante Green out there. Hey, listen, that's how Javon be trying to play. He be trying to turn himself into Javante. When he get the hoop and he had the Tay to his neck. But no, like, when you are thinking about, okay, how are we going to match up here? Like, you have nothing to match up with. You got a bigs. Your next best big has been in the G League all year, and you didn't want to get him any tick. I don't know, man.
Listen, it's going to be a lot of Torrey Craig as a small ball center out there. Until I see otherwise, that's just what I'm expecting. I would love to have faith. Huh?
And he's already hurt.
Yeah. I don't care. This is the thing. All jokes aside, I feel bad for Andre Drummond, and this is not in any way slight towards Andre Drummond because I would love to have him out there on the court. But this is karma. This is karma for the front office, not looking at us for 3 years in a row, knowing that the one position that we can't withstand any type of significant injury to is the center position. And then you do get a center in there as an undrafted rookie, and you've developed him in the G League. I mean, that's better than him sitting on the back end of Billy Donovan's bitch not getting any minutes. But now you need him, and you need him in a critical stretch as well. This isn't just like some random game in the middle of November, right? This is a stretch leading into your postseason. This is your postseason, and he is completely and utterly shell-shocked out there, at least in the 4 minutes that he's played, because guess what? He's played a total of like 6 minutes over the course of the NBA season.
Yeah, no, 100%. And now you're putting yourself into a spot where, in what I would say is a pretty struggling draft, you've got to go out there and try and figure out, okay, where am I going to find a big at? I know we laughed about it before, but Zach Edey really might be coming to Chicago, bro.
No, bro. You keep saying there are literally 5 bigs in the draft before you got to get to Zach Edey.
Hey, listen. We ain't going big early. The Bulls are probably going to go with a forward early on, more than likely, to try and make up for Patrick Williams at this point.
I doubt that, because I
wouldn't be surprised if we don't get into this second round and Muzz is sitting
there. We
don't
have a second round pick.
I know. I'm saying go buy a pick. Go buy a pick. Go get a Zach.
Well, he's not. Zach Edey's done himself good. That tournament, he's not going in the second anymore. He's probably going to go late first. So
he definitely climbed.
I have a video out on NBA Central about that. But
I said I knew he wasn't gonna go undrafted at this point. Like after that
if it wasn't for that tournament run, he was gonna go.
That's usually when people get cooking. Yeah, I mean that's usually when names are made.
Not when you're that level of player during the whole because he's not just this player. It's just like he hasn't just turned it on, but. No, Zach Edey's not coming.
He did kind of though. Like he turned it on during. I mean, he's always been 20 and 24 and 12, but like
and 2 blocks. So
he looked freaking dominant from like the Big Ten tournament on.
Yeah,
I was just like, that's the only time I'd seen him. So I'm like, yeah, this dude got to be in the draft, right? Like, got to be dominated. But I don't know, bro. Like I don't know where you find an answer at the big man position at this point, because you don't have money going into next season either.
That's why exactly they're going to draft it. They have, again, they could draft a power forward, be like, boom, you're a center in this. Like, it just I have no idea, bro. This is AK. It's Eversley. Who knows what's gonna happen, bro? They may draft you.
Hey man, I mean,
They saw you running out there on the court when you won that cooler. They may draft you, bro.
Hey man, listen, I got some rebounds for you. I'll Javante Carter the mess out of you. You pay me to play in the NBA. I'm gonna be in great shape. I'm gonna be in absolutely great shape. I'm gonna grab some boards, leg kick out. Gonna call me Terry Taylor out there. Terry 2 times. Here we go. Hey man, before we get to this final topic, where we got to talk about this actual play-in and how Billy Donovan didn't come to be in the play-in. I don't know if I believe that. First, we got to tell you guys.
Why'd you emphasize come like that?
Huh?
Never mind. I'll talk to you about it after the show. Nothing. Keep it going, bro.
What's happening?
You're the words you decide to put emphasis on. It's wild, bro. Keep it going, man.
Just say he said he didn't come to put to play in the play-in game, bro. Just, I mean, I feel like I said that fairly normal. Sometimes we all need the opportunity to get some things off our chest. Hey, yo, big or small, certainly things can really start to get to you. And that's why this next segment is brought to you by our sponsor, BetterHelp. It's important to let that out, especially to somebody who's unbiased on your life. So today, I want to say how I really feel about something. You might even be thinking about the same things. I mean, listen. If you're sitting here worried about the Chicago Bulls or, you know, different trades that they might make, who they're going to get in the draft, et cetera. Yeah, I mean, like those things are trivial compared to some of the things that people may be going through in their real day-to-day lives. And I think that that's kind of where BetterHelp comes in. It gives you the opportunity to get some things off your chest. It's completely flexible. If you're thinking about starting therapy, giving BetterHelp a try is the easiest way to do that. It's entirely online. It's suited to your schedule. You fill out a questionnaire. It literally fits everything to you. All you got to do is go to betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOffNBA.
Well, with that said, as we move to the last segment of the day, before the game, Billy Donovan, of course, was asked about the Kentucky situation, in which he says that no one has contacted him yet. A lot of people hung on to that. I want to wake everybody up and let them know they're not going to reach out to him until the end of the season. Stop acting surprised by the fact that he said that he hadn't heard anything from them yet. He's not going to hear anything. With 4 games left in the playing game at the time that he said that, he's not going to hear it. But one of the things that he did say here is that he did not come to Chicago to be a playing team. How do you feel about that, Pat?
I agree with that. I believe him. But it hasn't worked out that way. But I believe that Billy Donovan. Listen, y'all know I'm different on Billy. Like, I don't blame everything in the world on Billy Donovan. I think Billy Donovan's a fine head coach. I don't think he's great. I think he's got some things that are his strengths. I think he got some things that are absolutely his weaknesses. And I think everybody wants to blame Billy Donovan for everything that happens with the Chicago Bulls. Did you see what happened tonight? You sit here and tell me what Billy Donovan is supposed to do with that. What is Billy? what is Billy supposed to do with that? Kobe don't even know what to do with that. Kobe has no idea what to do with that, bro. Like, Kobe got to go look these dudes in the eye in the locker room after and say, "Hey, don't do that no more." Yeah, I mean, like, so it's. Do I think that Billy Donovan came here to be in the play-in? No, and I think that Billy Donovan probably thought that the team he originally had was suited to not do that, but. Do I think that he's won over all of the players here in his time? No. Do I think that the attitude of all of the players has been an attitude about wanting to not be in the play-in? No. Do I think that he's done a good enough job changing those attitudes? No. There's plenty of blame to go around with the Chicago Bulls team, and that's how you end up getting in the play-in when everybody's sitting there saying it's not on me, it's not my fault, it's not. You know, we're still trying. We're still. Somebody take some blame.
It's somebody's fault.
It's somebody's fault, dog.
It's
like,
somebody's
it can be everybody's fault. It can be nobody's fault, but it's somebody's fault.
I'm leaving here with something. You know what you're not leaving here with? Very many wins. That's not what you're leaving here with. It is what it is at this point, bro. Like all jokes aside, like I know that's what I keep responding to, but at this point, really, when it comes down to all this crap, when it comes to the Chicago Bulls, the wins, the losses, the struggles, the everything, it just until we have a front office that anybody can feel confident is ready to make the tough decisions, this is still where we're going to be. And Billy Donovan, I wouldn't blame him if he leaves to go to Kentucky. I wouldn't blame him if he left to go coach at some random mid-major. It's him versus Larry Brown. They're the greatest mid-major coaches of all time. I wouldn't be surprised with that, because the place that we're in right now as a franchise is so dark, and you need leadership, whether it's your owner, whether your owner passes everything off to your president of basketball operations, whether they then pass it off to the GM. At some point, somebody has to be prideful in putting a team together, and the most important thing being winning, meaning that you're not worried about the feelings of your players. You're not worried about how the perception from the fan base is, because you are trying to do everything that you can to get to winning, and we don't have that. We have a front office that cares more about the perception of putting out a winning team than winning. We have a front office that cares more about the players and stuff like that, the guys that they brought in here, than actually winning. And part of that is commendable. Do not get me wrong. It's good to have a franchise that cares about the people that they brought to this team, but at some point, somebody has to prioritize winning more than all of that. And until that happens, unless we get lucky, this is where we're going to be.
Well, and I think you got to prioritize the mindset of players that have that winning attitude. Why is Minnesota successful? It's not just because Ant's good at basketball.
It's because Minnesota had players that are good at basketball.
Minnesota had Wiggs. Minnesota had, like, those are good basketball players. Those are really good basketball players. Their mindset wasn't right. They can score as many points as you want in the NBA. Why is it they couldn't play basketball no more? They couldn't win games after Jimmy Butler left. Who on this team has that mindset? There's not one player on this team that thinks that way. There's not one player on this team that goes out there night in, and I keep saying this, that goes out there night in and night out and says, I'm the reason that we're going to go out here and we're going to win games.
No, we have those players. No, we have those players. Absolutely. We absolutely has that player. We have that player. I guarantee you, DeMar DeRozan thinks he's going to be the reason why we win basketball games. I guarantee you, Javon Carter thinks he's going to be the reason why we're going to win basketball plays. Why we're going to win basketball games. You know what they don't have is that they're extremely flawed on top of all of that. Like, yes, we need somebody who has the transcendent mindset, but as well that has the skill that pushes people forward. DeMar DeRozan is great for a mentor, but something that we need to go ahead and pull the Band-Aid off. DeMar DeRozan doesn't make anybody better.
So then you don't have that.
No,
that's
you do have
like
that.
like here's the thing: thinking it and actually putting it on the court are two different things. The one thing about Ant that I see is no matter what he does, he will give everything to win a basketball game. DeMar DeRozan don't have that. DeMar DeRozan will give everything to put up 35.
I mean, the thing is,
he does not have that. He's never had that. He didn't have that in Toronto. That's why they was able to go, boop, you go over to San Antonio. Kawhi, you try. I worked. What they changed? We changed Kawhi. It was one dude.
Well, let's be clear here. It's also a guy who was much better than DeMar DeRozan.
But what was he better at? He was better
defense,
at doing whatever you needed. No, whatever you needed me to do.
But it's not just about that, though. But he also was considerably better in the places that DeMar DeRozan was better. There's a lot of people that say I would do whatever you need me to do, but don't. That's why I say it's more than just the mindset. You also have to have the skill. I hate it, and I'm not saying, I know that's not what you're saying, but I hate when people are like, well, yeah, they added Kawhi and they wanted China. Yeah, Kawhi is also a considerably better player than DeMar DeRozan. And then at that point in time, DeMar was a player that did try to do everything he could do to win. He just didn't have the skill. He couldn't guard it. DeMar DeRozan's defense has been the exact same because he doesn't give effort anymore because at this point he's old.
Why? That's the thing. But why?
But why
when
what?
He wants to play defense. We talk about it so many times during the season. We like, what the heck was that?
No, we don't. I've said that DeMar DeRozan, when he can get some steals, but when it comes to one-on-one defense, heck no. DeMar DeRozan just like, it's not just about trying the skill. He does the moment you go to the pick and roll, DeMar DeRozan is where did he go? Which way did he go? Which way did he go? He's going to be cool in transition sometimes. I give DeMar DeRozan that. But one-on-one defense, you isolate against DeMar DeRozan, it's barbecue chicken every single. And it's not always because he doesn't give effort. He just isn't good at it. He's not good at it. Some people you can literally, they can try hard as hell. They can put in all the work in the world, and the best that they're going to come out with is a D+.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing. He's not good at it and just doesn't put in the effort on it. He's not good at it. He's like, I'm not good at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, that's my thing. The deficiencies that guys had. DeMar DeRozan's been in the NBA. What we on? Year 14 for DeMar?
Something like that.
You can get better at defense. You just can. You have all the ability, all the trainers in the world, and guess what? DeMar DeRozan, like, of course, against the average Muzz, he's a good defender. You know what I mean? But like, in that time, it's just a want to.
Bro, and it's not, though. So, like I said, some people can want things. They just don't have the skill. DeMar doesn't have the skill to be, whether it's mental, whether it's whatever, he doesn't have it to be a good defender.
But he doesn't have it. Here's my problem with that. Like, a Kyle Korver can't do it. He ain't got the feet to do it. Kyle Korver got the feet to set him up and shoot. Like,
no, we've seen Kyle Korver be a good defender.
When you watched Kyle Korver, but it was a struggle. You know what I mean? But when
he was in a really good team defensive system too.
Yeah,
like that.
But what I'm saying, I mean, listen, the Bulls seemingly have good systems in place where they were at the top of the NBA defensively at times.
Yeah, when they had Lonzo and things like that, but also like that Bulls team. Well, then they also had Caruso playing at a high level and Ayo Dosunmu. But like that Bulls team specifically, when you had weak defenders, with the way that they funneled in the because again, that wasn't the era where people were shooting a whole lot of threes. So if you got past your perimeter defender, you were trying to get to the mid range. You had Taj, you had Joe, you had Omir Sheik at that point in time. Yeah. You had those defenders that were able to still recover that. So,
but I think that's the thing, right? This team had those guys. Now, you didn't have it down low. You had nothing with Vooch. You got nothing there. But DeMar DeRozan's been on the court with Alex Caruso and Ayo.
Yeah, but you're not running a pick and roll between DeMar and the guard more times than that. You're running a pick and roll with DeMar.
What with me? The whole team, the four is the guard. We've seen Javonte Green in 5 games play center. Like, I think we have seen that as well.
Not with Caruso and Ayo, but and even with Javonte though, like we've talked about it. Then there were times where Javonte just got overworked by.
Hey, that was crazy.
That was crazy.
That was
crazy.
No, I hear you, but I think here's my thing. DeMar hasn't had those kind of players his whole career. He's been on teams where you've had the solid piece down low. He's been on, you know what I mean? Like
solid piece down low.
That's also crazy. But I think that there comes a point where you just say this dude just don't want to do that, and that can't be your number one guy. You've been 14 years in the NBA. You've had dominant defenders. He played with not only just, well, I don't know about Pascal being a dominant defender, but wasn't Ibaka on that team, that championship team?
I mean, I don't think Serge Ibaka was dominant defender at that point.
Serge Ibaka was still a 3+ block guy, I think, when he was on that.
But we've talked about that. Being a 3+ block guy doesn't make you dominant
defensively. He still was moving well. Like, he was still a good piece on that Toronto team. He hadn't fallen off a cliff until, I think, pretty much heading into that championship year. That was kind of when the cliff hit for him. But he still moved well. He was still a good pick and roll defender. Like, and DeMar's been this dude his whole career. Listen, he's a scorer. He's one of the greatest. I'm not going to say
he's one of the greatest scorers of all time.
One of the greatest mid-range shooters we'll ever see in the NBA. I'm not going to say he's the greatest. I feel that felt wrong.
One of the greatest. Yeah, one of the greatest.
But the fact that we've been watching the same DeMar defensively the whole time tells me who he is as the player. I'm not willing to do whatever it takes because defensively, it is what it is. Y'all know what y'all going to get from me. Whoa. What's going on in the comments there?
I don't know. Some fool trying to get some attention.
Whoa, what's happening there? Somebody, is that December?
No, I don't know what that is.
Let's get up out of here, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Let us know in the comments, man. Do you feel like the Bulls have that player that's willing to do anything to get a win? I know music, so yeah, that's the whole thing. Huh?
I mean, you might as well give the fans the music.
Nope.
Do the music for the fans.
Nope. No music on losses.
For the
we
fans,
all sit here sad together.
All right. You can follow me at CEO Haize. We want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls. We are free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube. For Pat the Designer, who sucks. We're out this mug. Peace, y'all.
This is what you get on losses.
Top it up.